Welcome to my channel, where there are interesting and equally sensational stories. Listen to today's story. I hope you all are having a fantastic day or evening. In today's story, Op found out about his wife's affair and got instant revenge the same day he found out about it. Now let's get into today's story to find out what happened. Hello. For the context of this story, I'll call myself Ben and my then wife, Linda. This is my story from 6+ years ago about how my marriage ended within a day. I, 32, was working as a chemical engineer and my wife of 2 years, Linda, 27, worked as a nurse assistant at the time. We didn't have children, but we were planning to start a family soon. We were financially secure. I made around $140K a year, and my wife made around 30. She was also in school, which I was paying for. We owned the house and had savings. I thought we were happy and content with our lives. I had noticed that in the weeks leading up to D-Day, that Linda was spending far more time on her phone than usual. I also noticed when she unlocked her phone that she had added a passcode, something which she never had before. We never had a reason to have passcodes before on our phones since I never used hers or she never did mine. We never snooped on each other's phones ever. However, I didn't think much of it at the time since she had never given me any reason to doubt her. Fast forward to D-Day. Me and Linda had escaped to the lake house my family owned a few days prior, which was located about 1.5 hours from home. We were planning on spending some quality time together since we had both gotten a bit busy with our careers, school, etc. In hindsight, I did notice that Linda was a little preoccupied during this stay. However, I was still unaware her nephew had been diagnosed with leukemia a few weeks ago when the entire family was buzzing with the news. So I thought perhaps it was that. She also seemed to be texting more than usual as well. I thought maybe it was her sister relaying news and asking for advice regarding her son. On the second day since we arrived, Linda had started working on her special Moroccan dish that she had been excited about for some time. She asked me to look the preparation method up again on the web, and I do. But my battery's about to die, so I go in and plug it into the charger. She then unlocks her phone and tosses it to me and asked me to look it up on her phone. I search for it and read it out loud. Just as I finished reading it, and was about to turn the screen off and get locked out of her phone permanently, a silent WhatsApp notification pops up. I find it weird since I didn't know Linda even had WhatsApp, and I automatically click on it. I wasn't expecting to see anything incriminating, or wasn't even trying to snoop. It was more like a reflex action more than anything, and I opened a chat log between her and the guy. He goes, "How's it going?" Then he's typing. Then as I'm staring at it, he sends another one, "Already missing you." My entire vision blurs, and I feel the room spinning for about 3 seconds. I hurriedly grabbed her phone and head off to the den. My wife is still preparing for her special dish, blissfully unaware that I was close to seizing just a few feet over. I scroll through their endless chant. There's flirting. There's exchanging moods. There's a lot of talking about the sex they had or are planning on having, etc. They've also professed their love for each other a few times. After about 10 minutes of scrolling, I've had enough. I decide on the spot that my marriage is over after reading through all that. There's no way I'll ever want her in my life, much less my bed. I tried changing her password, but fail. So I changed the screen sleep time of her phone to never, then grab my car keys and her phone and head out. On the way I utter something about grabbing some toiletries I had forgotten to bring along from a store half a kilometer away. She says something back. I barely register what it is. As I get behind the wheel, I feel a strange sense of serenity as the fog lifts and my mind clears. I stopped shortly after just out of reach of the lake house and text the guy we're coming home. Ben has a work emergency. Let's meet at their usual hangout at 12, and I drive. I drive for nearly 2 hours, but it feels like an eternity. I arrived at their usual hangout, which is a coffee shop close to her school. I wait in the car to kill the time till 12. At around 11:45, the guy arrives. I recognize him from his selfies. He looks young, younger than my wife too, and fresh. I immediately get out and head inside fast. As soon as he enters, I do too, and I wrap my arm around his shoulders. He jumps and turns his head towards me. My face is literally inches from his and his pupils dilate as he recognizes me. Whatever he was about to say died on his lips. I grip his shoulders tight and direct him to a nearby table. He looks like he's about to have a panic attack. I calmly take her phone and press record and ask him to start from the beginning. He starts to protest, but I say he's blown my marriage up. This is the least he could do. They were introduced by one of their mutual friends. They went from acquaintances to friends really fast. And within weeks, they were in bed. This has been going on for 10 months. All this time she had been, and I had been talking about starting a family. She was screwing him. He went on and on about their escapades, the lies, the deceit. By just tuning out for the rest of the time. I had heard enough. After he finishes, he starts apologizing. He's sorry he tore my marriage apart, but he's in love with her and he sees a future with her. She's the one. I tell him fine. He can have her. I have no use for her anymore. I don't want someone's leftovers. That I thank him. I thank him for helping me see what a skank she is before I put a bun in her oven. I thank him for the 18 years of child support I will be paying. I then tell him her location and ask him to go get her. Then I head out. I head straight home. While on my way, Linda calls me from the landline and she's in hysterics. She asks where I was, that she was worried sick. I had gotten into an accident. She tried to call me but couldn't find her phone. But then remembered there's a landline. I calmly tell her I'm on my way home and asked her to pack our shit and come home straight away. She freaks out and starts rambling by hang up. She tries calling several times, but I don't answer. She then calls her own phone, probably to locate it, thinking it's still in the house, but I let it ring too. I get home and get busy. I call my best bud and bawl like a freaking baby. He was a solid support, and he says he'll make some calls around and get back to me. Meanwhile, I screenshot the chats between her and her lover and send them to my phone. I also send all the pics and videos of them. Then I changed her Facebook status to single. I then create a post on her profile, quoting one of her texts to the guy. So what's the lie I'm going to tell Ben today so I can come screw you, with the heart eyes emoji. Then I head over to her IG and add one of their selfies where they look intimate to her ID story. I activate the notification sounds and leave her phone on the tabletop. It doesn't take very long for the phone to buzz non-stop with messages and reactions from confused family and friends. I figure Linda must already be on the way back and her lover on the way to the lake house if he's actually going to fetch her. Either way, they're going to miss each other. Then my friend gets back from his lawyer friend, who's ready to clear up a bit of his schedule to create a wiggle room for me. So I head out immediately and my friend arrives too. House is in my name, and so are the savings. As per the infidelity clause, I won't have to pay her alimony. Proving the infidelity would be a walk in the park. I'll be walking away from the marriage pretty much unscathed, except for the 2 years I wasted on this woman, and PTSD. When I head home, my soon-to-be ex-wife is on the front porch with all our luggage lying around. As soon as she sees me, she goes absolutely nuts, asking me what the freak is wrong with me leaving her like that, etc. I unlock the door and quietly step inside. And she follows, rambling at a 1,000 words per minute. She finally gets in my face and yells at me. I take her notification-clogged phone from the table, open the audio recording of her lover and hand it over to her. To say she was shocked is an understatement. She sinks to the floor and starts screaming that it wasn't why I think it is, that her lover is mistaken. It didn't mean anything and that I'm the love of her life and all that BS. I tell her she has 2 hours to pack her stuff and get out. She wails at first, then clings to my leg and begs me to not ruin our family for a simple mistake, and then turns nasty. She says, I can't kick her out because this is her house too. And I remind her the prenup with its infidelity clause. She kicks and screams for some time, but I don't wait around. In the span of the next few hours, I inform her family, my family, her friends, her colleagues, etc. Since the prenup is solid, I figured it's important to get my narrative out first, since I have no doubt she's going to spend some sort of sob story and make me out to be an abuser or something. So long story short, I serve her within the week. 6 months later, our divorce is finalized. Soon after I kicked her out, she moved in with her lover, and they lasted a solid 2 months before she set herself up in her sister's guest room. From what I heard at the time, she was let go of her job, and was taking a break from school till she scraped some dollars to pay for it. The final time I saw her in court, I almost didn't recognize her. She looked like she had aged a decade in the span of 6 months and looked ragged and tired. 3 years post the ordeal, I met the woman of my dreams and marry her. I'm now a proud father to a toddler. As for my ex, I do not know her whereabouts. However, wherever she is, I hope she's living well. I have long let go of the anger and resentment I felt toward her. She's only a minuscule part of my past now. I know, like mine and her family's did, most of you listeners probably would not approve of the way I handled things. Why couldn't I just forgive her this one time? Why couldn't I get her one last chance? Why did I rush into a divorce? But for me at the time, and even now, the course of actions I followed makes the most sense. I did not and still do not feel like cheating is something I can just sweep under the rug and move forward with life. It just isn't. Anyways, thank you everybody for reading my story. OP. I have so much respect for the way you handled this. You were paying for her college and basically funding her life, while also playing for a family. But all that time, she was chatting another dude. She made the bed so she needs to lie in it. You're extremely lucky this happened. What are the odds she gets knocked up by the dude and you'd be tricked into raising an affair kid as your own? I wish you the best with your situation, Op, and hope you are able to recover. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story. If you enjoyed the story, please feel free to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, comment below with your thoughts on today's story. Take care, everyone.